Hello guys, welcome to the movie recap review. Happy watching.
Prosecution has announced it will do so if the defendant is found guilty.
I thought you may as well learn to ride at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
Only for me and only when I make it.
Hey, don't talk about her like that.
Hey, Kaya.
October 30th, 1969, North Carolina. In a quiet forest, two boys pedal their bikes along winding trails until they stumble upon a marsh. There, they discover the lifeless body of Chase Andrews, a local young man, sprawled near the base of a high fire tower. Alarmed, they rush to call the police. Sheriff Jackson and Deputy Perdue arrive on the scene and investigate. They note the broken hatch door at the top of the tower and deliberate whether Chase fell accidentally or if someone pushed him. News of Chase's death spreads quickly through the town, igniting suspicion toward the Marsh Girl, a mysterious young woman named Catherine Danielle Clark, known as Kaya. Whispers of her involvement grow louder. Kaya learns she is being hunted and tries to flee, maneuvering through the swamps she knows so well. However, Sheriff Jackson and his team corner her in the wilderness and take her into custody. In jail, Kaya meets Tom Milton, a seasoned lawyer willing to defend her. He explains that to build her case, he needs to understand her story. Initially wary, Kaya remains silent, but eventually, she begins to open up, sharing fragments of her life before Tom departs. 1953. As a young girl, Kaya lived with her mother, Ma, her siblings Murph, Mandy, Missy, and Jody, and their abusive father, whom they called Pa. Life was harsh and often terrifying, with their father's temper ruling the household. One day, unable to endure the abuse any longer, Ma leaves. Kia runs after her, begging her to stay, but Ma doesn't look back. One by one, her siblings also abandon the home, seeking safety and freedom elsewhere. Jody, the last to leave, advises Kia to find refuge where the Crawdads sing if she ever needs to escape. But Kia, clinging to the hope that Ma will return, decides to stay behind and face the world alone. Kia spends rare, peaceful moments with her father, fishing in the marsh during his brief intervals of sobriety. On one of these days, he gives her a knapsack, which she uses to collect seashells and feathers. Nearby lives Tate Walker, a kind boy who befriends Kaya despite her isolation. Their connection offers her a rare sense of companionship. Occasionally, Kaya ventures into town, though her unkempt appearance draws judgment from most of the townsfolk. The only exceptions are shopkeeper Jimmy Madison and his wife, Mabel. Mabel shows her kindness, offering clean clothes and encouraging her to attend school. With hesitation, Kia follows Mabel's advice and, after running into Tom, gets directions to the school. However, her experience there is devastating. The other children mock her relentlessly for her appearance, and feeling humiliated, Kia flees and vows never to return. When she returns home, she finds a letter in the mail from her mother. Hopeful for news, she watches as her father takes the letter, reads it, and burns it before she can see what it says. Shortly afterward, he resumes drinking and eventually abandons her altogether, leaving Kia to survive alone in the marsh. Back in the present, the trial for Chase Andrews' death unfolds, with the Andrews family's lawyer painting Kaya as guilty in the court of public opinion, feeding into the town's deep-seated rumors and prejudice. Meanwhile, Tom Milton works tirelessly to defend her, reassuring Kaya and presenting a case that highlights the lack of concrete evidence tying her to Chase's death. Against the tide of public condemnation, Tom does his best to keep Kaya calm and prove her innocence. 1962. As Kia grows older, her love for the marsh deepens, inspiring her to sketch and document the shells, feathers, and other natural wonders she collects. Her artistic pursuits lead to a reunion with Tate, now older and wiser. Tate begins teaching Kaya to read and write, helping her expand her ability to record her discoveries in greater detail. Encouraged by Tate, Kaya considers submitting her drawings and writings to publishers. Their bond deepens as they share more about their lives. Tate opens up about his own pain, recounting the loss of his mother and sister. Their connection blossoms into love, and one evening by the river, they come close to making love for the first time. However, Tate hesitates, fearing he might hurt Kia or disrupt her already fragile world. When Tate is accepted into college, their world shifts. Though Kia is heartbroken, she allows him to spend one last evening with her before he leaves. As time passes, however, Kaya's sadness turns to resentment, feeling abandoned by the only person she trusted. 1965. Kaya's isolation is interrupted when she meets Chase Andrews. Their paths cross when Chase and his friends gather near the water. Unlike others in town, Chase approaches her with a friendly demeanor, and the two begin a relationship. Chase takes her virginity, though the experience is brief and unfulfilling for Kaya. He takes her to the fire tower, the same one where his body will later be found, and Kaya gives him a seashell necklace, a detail that becomes critical during her court case, as the necklace is missing from his body at the time of his death. During this time, Kaya faces another challenge. Developers threaten to seize her home unless she provides a deed. Determined to protect her marsh sanctuary, Kaya sends her work to publishers. Her efforts pay off when her book documenting marsh life is published, earning her enough money to secure and renovate her home. Amid these changes, Jody re-enters Kaya's life. Now a grown man and a veteran, he tracks her down after discovering her book. Jody shares heartbreaking news. Their mother had tried to reunite with them, but was stopped by their father, who threatened to beat them all if she returned. Their mother later passed away from leukemia. Jody also reveals that he has lost contact with their other siblings and would no longer recognize them if they crossed paths. Despite the sadness, the reunion brings Kaya a glimmer of family connection she had long thought lost. Sometime later, Tate returns from college and overhears Chase Andrews speaking crudely about Kaya among a group of men. Furious, Tate confronts Chase, and their heated exchange nearly escalates into a fight before Jimmy Madison intervenes and separates them. Determined to make amends, Tate visits Kaya's home. Hurt and angry over his long absence, Kaya pelts rocks at him, refusing to listen. Tate persists, apologizing and explaining why he left. Gradually, Kaya softens and forgives him, though their relationship remains tentative. While in town, Kaya spots Chase and decides to invite him over. However, she discovers he is with another woman and learns he is engaged. Heartbroken and betrayed, Kaya retreats to her solitude, but Chase follows her home after a tense encounter at the shop. Once there, he confronts her angrily. When Kaya stands up to him, Chase snaps and attempts to beat her. Enraged, Chase tries to her. In self-defense, she fights back, striking him in the face with a rock. Kaya escapes, shouting that she will kill him if he ever comes near her again. This threat is overheard by a witness, a key piece of testimony later used against her in court. When Kaya returns to her shack, she discovers that Chase has already been there, leaving her home in shambles. Around the time of Chase's death, Kaya is invited to a dinner meeting with publishers to discuss her work. This becomes a focal point during the trial, as the prosecution argues that her hotel's proximity to the bus station would have allowed her to sneak out, lure Chase to the fire tower, kill him, and return unnoticed. However, Tom counters that the theory is implausible, questioning why Kaya, who had no criminal history, would take such an elaborate and risky course of action. Before the jury delivers their verdict, Tom Milton and the Andrews lawyer present their final arguments. The courtroom is tense, with Tate, Jody, and the Madisons standing as Kaya's only visible supporters. In her cell, moments before the decision, Kaya confides in Tom. She acknowledges the cruelty she faced from the townspeople, but insists she never harbored resentment toward them. She also reveals she remembers Tom from her childhood as one of the few people who showed her kindness, which meant more to her than he could have known. The jury reaches a decision. Kaya is found not guilty of Chase Andrews' death due to insufficient evidence. The judge offers Kaya an apology for the ordeal she has endured. While Mrs. Andrews weeps quietly in her seat, Kaya's supporters erupt in relief and joy. Kaya returns to her life in the marsh and rekindles her romance with Tate. Declaring themselves married in their own quiet way, the two begin a life of love and partnership. Over the years, Kaya continues to publish books on the natural world while they build a life together. They attend Jimmy's funeral, marking the passing of one of the few people who always stood by her. As time passes, Kaya and Tate grow old together, cherishing the peace they've found. In her final moments, Kaya takes her boat out into the marsh, where she feels the presence of her mother, as though her spirit has returned to guide her into the afterlife. Later, Tate finds Kaya lifeless in her boat, her journey coming to a serene end. While going through her belongings, Tate discovers a hidden book containing a poem that reads, "Sometimes for the prey to survive, the predator must die." Alongside the poem is a drawing of Chase and the blood-stained seashell necklace that had been missing from his body, confirming that Kaya had indeed killed him. Protecting her memory and legacy, Tate throws the necklace into the marsh, ensuring the truth of that night is lost to the tides forever.
And that's the end of the story. I hope you liked it. Comment down below what movies do you like us to recap next. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next time.